One of the activities that Jason and I used to enjoy as growing up with some of the neighborhood kids and with ourselves, we like to play games, but we like to play cards too. We were probably, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. We learned how to play sheephead. And we'd play with, with each other. We'd play with the neighbor kids. And we like to gamble a little. We played some poker too, but sheephead primarily. But we like to gamble, and we would gamble with our very, very valuable baseball cards and basketball cards. Now, Marcus Johnson was never put up for gambling, but we typically would try to, we would trade baseball cards with the neighbor kids too, but eventually you got down to the point where, because if you tried to complete a set of baseball cards, each card has a little number on the back. If you got close to having a set, you try to get the ones you needed from the neighbor kids, but a lot of the neighbor kids, they may only have one of it, and they didn't want to give up their singles. They only wanted to give up their doubles, and so playing poker or sheephead for cards was a good way to maybe get a chance at getting one of the singles that you might need to finish off your set. Now I never did finish off a set of baseball cards when I was when I was growing up. Jason didn't either, but we did play sheephead quite a bit. And this particular incident that I'll relay to you involved, and these kind of things carried on into adulthood too, and we'll get to some of those stories later on. But this was kind of the beginnings of all of this, and we were playing sheephead for cards, and I don't remember who we were playing with. But being young, we didn't really know the etiquette for cards. We would just, as the cards were dealt, we would pick up our hand. And, if you started to get a really good hand, it was hard as young boys to not react to that. And, oh, wow, oh, this is a really good hand. Keep dealing the good cards. Give me the good cards. Yes, this is going great. This is going to be wonderful. And then I would accidentally misdeal to Jason. And, of course, when you misdeal in sheephead, you have to bring all the cards back and reshuffle them up and then redeal them. And Jason was reacting to the cards that he was getting, and he was getting a very good hand, and he was making sure that everybody knew he had a good hand and that he was going to win a lot and win a lot of baseball cards. And then I accidentally, of course, misdealt. It was never on purpose. But Jason learned a very valuable lesson that day. He learned not to show on his face or react to the cards he was receiving. And in later years, you learn not to pick up your cards until after they'd all been dealt. That way, somebody wouldn't be able to read what you were getting and accidentally misdeal. Now, you might think, well, that was awful mean-spirited of me to do something like that. But it also taught Jason a very valuable lesson that he was able to use on several occasions when I did the very same thing that he did. I overreacted to the cards I was getting, and then he accidentally misdealt. And so those good hands that we had were not good, and they had to be turned back in and reshuffled and redealt. And so, of course, there were many yees back and forth over misdeals and sheephead. And but I think the original misdeal that I taught Jason how to do that, and then he continued on. Kind of like the Monopoly thing. I got all the 500s the first time around, and then he got them the second time. Well, with the sheephead, it went back and forth many, many times, and there were many yees back and forth between Jason and I. And the neighbor kids, I don't know, they didn't really participate in that. They thought it was funny when we would do it to each other when we were, but they didn't really misdeal intentionally themselves. I don't remember that. Maybe they did. Jason, you might remember, but I don't. I just remember Jason doing it to me. And then, of course, I had started it, though, honestly. I had instigated, and I had done it the first time. Well, we played quite a bit of sheephead growing up, and so that was something that we had did. But Jason, one final yee for those misdeals in sheephead.